Hello, EK. I'm Michael Eigenrauch, and this is Creating Dragons. Now, why would I want to build a dragon? Well, to make our school just feel a bit more like it's ours, if you know what I mean. Not just like some building we bought and moved into. Yeah, all right, that's not working. All right, well, that's not working. But anyways, I originally did not plan to build a statue of our school mascot, the Sea Dragon. In fact, I came in this year having no idea what I wanted to do. But administration went to Miss Kino, who then came and told me that they would like me to build a statue of the EK Sea Dragon. And me, loving metalwork, loving all of that kind of stuff, I obviously said yes. I'm sorry, what? So, let's get on with how I built the dragon. Now that is a long story. In the first semester, I went in a meeting and decided how I would build it, the location, and the design of the dragon. I decided on my original materials for it. I found my expert to help me with building it, changed my materials and how I would build it, and had my cans for creation can drive. So, starting off with semester 1. These were 4 of the designs that I had. There was originally 5. These 4 were those that were rejected when brought into a meeting with Miss Matson. This was the chosen design, where the dragon would go in, out, in 3 pieces, totaling 10 feet long, with the highest bit standing at 6 feet tall. This was the spot that we decided on during that meeting for putting the dragon. And this was the original building technique of how I would make it. So plates made of aluminum would be made into a bowl shape and then slid onto one central spine-like structure that would then be bent into the curves of the dragon. Now, finding my expert. This took a long time and a lot of calling. As you can see here, this is my contact log, where I went through several places, metalworking places, woodworking places, trying to find leads for metalworking places, all of that. And that eventually, through all of that failing, my dad came through and helped me out by finding a friend of his who was an expert on welding. This right here is a picture of his shop, fused stainless. With his help, I had a meeting with him where we discussed the design of my dragon, how it would be built, and decided that what I originally wanted to do would not work out too well. And from there, the first thing I had to change was my materials. These were the original materials: steel round stock and aluminum sheet metal. That was really expensive when I actually looked it up. And after changing those materials, I went on to changing the design. This was the new design that implemented, instead of one plate that was shaped into a bowl, several plates that would be placed onto a rib cage-like structure and create a scaled effect. Now this was the cost of the new materials, which was just rebar and cans. It literally would cost me less than $50 to build the entire skeleton. And this is where we start talking about the can drive. How did I get the cans? Well, if you remember, the Cans for Creation can drive was a secondary-wide contest where I asked all of the advisors to donate as many empty soup cans, food cans, as they could. This picture to your right is a picture of all the cans that I had collected. To the left, a picture of the flyer that was used for the Cans for Creation can drive. Now I kept tally of all of the classes. You can see that here, with Quinn being the winner of that and winning himself and his class an ice cream float party. And from there, we go to semester 2. Now I had all of these cans. What was I going to do with them? Well, first I would have to take these cans, cut them in half down the middle, cut the bottom off, split them open, and flatten them out. You can see that in this image, going from a can to a scale, with the right image being the start and the left image being the end product. And this is the big one, building the statue. The first picture here on the left side, that was the most difficult part of it by far, and that was on day one of building it. To build this head, I had to do my first few hours ever welding. Then I moved on to day two. I added on 4 more bars to complete the head's skeletal structure. Then on day 3, I started welding on cans and experimenting with how that would work. Then we jump a few weeks later, and this is the end product. I've welded on spikes to the side of the head to make it have like a webbed effect. We've completely scaled it, given it holes for eyes, and given it a mouth hole. And from there, I went on to build the body. This image to the left, rotated, was where I started, with a single piece of scrap metal that I had found in my backyard that was reinforced with metal, with a rebar on the end of it as an extension so that the head could fit on it and actually hang down. In the middle was when I started really going on with it. I added on all of the rings and started scaling it. And on the right here, this was the end product. This is a closer up look of the rings. The one on your right was before it was scaled, and the one on the left shows its scales. Now installing the dragon. I did this just this Monday. The first step was to have the dragon attached to a pallet so that we could put it into the truck. You can see it being put onto the truck now. Then we had to cover it with a moving blanket, keep it secured so that cans wouldn't come flying off. And we drove it all the way here to the school. From there, we loaded it off the truck, dug a hole, and started staking it in. After it was staked in, I secured the stakes by welding them, and then cemented it. This picture here is now the final picture of the statue. Now, what kind of things did I learn from this general experience? Have realistic expectations. I wanted to make this super sleek, super brand new materials, fancy, all of that stuff, but that just costs way too much, and having no welding experience, that would not have been possible. And be prepared for a change of plans. Like I said, I had to change materials halfway through the year. And listen to your previous seniors. Do not procrastinate. It is really bad to procrastinate on these senior projects. Everything they say is true. You will hate it. But what about the good things that I learned? I'm a fast learner. I've learned to better handle power tools. I've learned to 3D model, how to draw more in-detail diagrams. I learned to weld in a month. So what do I think the final lesson that you guys can take from this is? You can learn anything, you can make anything. Feel free to try and change the world around you as you see fit. Now, I don't have a slide for this, but I would like to say one special thank you to Miss Matson for being very supportive of my whole statue, building it and all of that, and for my father, who throughout the entire process of building it was there helping me get it done. Thank you.